Yeah, you see it right. I have here titled Using the Bible of Nothing But Fake News to Support a New Low. And I'm going to share if those of you haven't heard of what's been going on. I believe people should know by now there's a protest going on in downtown Los Angeles. And this is partly the reason why. So this comes out of politics, out of Huffington Post. And this is Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who cites the Bible as a reason to detain immigrant children. And so I did leave a comment. I said, this is the same Bible that justified why Blacks should be enslaved, why Blacks were lesser than people who weren't considered Black, why they separated the children of enslaved parents away from their kids. And let me tell you, they did it in a way where it was really aggressive. You had no other options. And they used it as law the same way they're doing now, but it was a lot more aggressive and violent. Um, so, anyway, it goes on to read the White House press secretary, Sarah Huckabee, defended the administration's detention of nearly 1,500 immigrant children by citing the Bible. In a series of heated exchanges between Sanders and the reporters at Thursday's press briefing, the press secretary seemed to have trouble explaining the reasoning behind the practice of separating children from their parents when they cross into the US illegally. Just say the reason why you're doing it. Do not use this, I really don't follow it because I feel like it's been used. This is pretty much validating what I've been saying all along, that it's been used for far too long as a weapon to justify all kinds of craziness. It's been used to justify why they enslaved Blacks, why they separated Black parents from their children, why Blacks were treated, our people of color were treated, people who are poor are treated in a harsh fashion or violently. It's been used for all kinds of things. It's been used to condemn LGBT people. Um, it's been used to condemn Blacks. It's been used to condemn a lot of things that you wouldn't believe. Some things that you think that are okay now, if you really start reading into the Bible, there are things that everybody's doing that is a sin. So I don't follow it because I really do know what's in there, and I feel like it's just to really control masses of people, and it's a way to kind of corral masses of people that you don't want to really tell them the truth. You don't want to really tell them what's really happening. You just use this as a scapegoat. So anyway, it goes on to read, after CNN, Jim Acosta, he asked a question. He asked Sanders about Attorney General Jeff Sessions' claim that separating parents from children is rooted in the Bible. Sanders said the following: is a law. It's law. It is biblical. And so it's just really sad. So this is why it's caused such an uproar. So there's a couple of tweets from some different people. Sanders downplays Trump's salute of the North Korean military official, a common courtesy, and then there, I guess, is some pictures. Then it goes on to say, asked about Jeff Sessions' claim about separating children from the parents is rooted in the Bible. Sanders says it is very biblical and it is enforced by the law. She then calls at Acosta dumb, saying, I know it's hard for you to understand even short sentences. So there's a video on it. I'm not even going to play it. You can find it on YouTube, CNN. So it is very biblical to enforce the law. That is actually repeated a number of times throughout the Bible, Sanders said. But reporters, including Acosta, and that there is, in fact, from their parents. Can you imagine the horror the kids must be going through when they come across the border? Acosta asked. They're with their parents, and then suddenly they're pulled away from their parents. Why is that government? Why is it that government is doing this? So it's like they're holding back, like they're not really saying what the real reasons are, and they're just using that as a scapegoat because it is law, and that is what the law states, Sanders responded. So it doesn't have to be law. This is what he said. You don't have to do that, Acosta said. On Wednesday, reporters were allowed for the first time to see a Texas facility housing nearly 1,500 immigrant children that have been separated from their parents by the U.S. government. MSNBC reporter Jacob said the children, many of whom had been detained for months, are essentially in like a prison. So I kid you not, one of the first things an employee of the shelter said to me is, when we walk inside, can you try to smile at these kids? Because it's weird to see people from the outside. That should tell you something. So Soboroff said that MSNBC, he said that on the wall. That's what he said. So he recalled that the employee was adding, they feel like animals locked up in cages being looked at. During Thursday's exchange, reporter Brian Kareem attempted to assess Sanders' empathetic side. And so I'm going to skip over what he said. So, wow, at Brian Kareem heatedly confronts Sanders about White House's family separating policy, says that, come on, you're a parent, have some empathy. And so that didn't move her at all. You're a parent. Don't you have any empathy? Kareem asked. Come on, Sarah, you're a parent. Don't you have any empathy for what the people are going through? These are the questions that he was asking her. And so you can see that this is, I'm not making this up. You can see Sarah Huckabee on the right, and you can see the reporter and how they're talking on CNN about the same thing that is being reported here. So it's not fake news. So it goes on to say, don't you have empathy for what the people are going through? And so they have less than you. Seriously, Sarah, seriously, these people have nothing. So Sanders deflected the question by claiming Kareem was simply looking for more TV time. So basically, she coined it as they're just looking for more. Now, some people don't care. You know, some people don't care. Now, I believe there's more to the story than what is being said. Um, so it just gets really sad. I'm just really focusing mainly. There's been some other things that have developed, of course, over this whole thing, but this is just really sad how they use this as a scapegoat, and it's not really a good look at all. It just does not look good at all. And it just basically validates what I've been saying. It's like that the Bible is now a weapon. It's a weapon, and I feel like it's always has been a weapon, and in the wrong hands of people, that's what it's really been used for. It has not really helped. It's just basically a tool for people to pretty much justify why they do the horrible things that they do. And I'm just going to leave it at that. It's just really, it's sickening. But I also heard, well, not heard, but I read that Sarah may be leaving at the end of the year. Sarah Huckabee, possibly. I don't know if this is true or not, but it was said that she may be leaving. So I don't know, maybe they're going to have someone else in her place. I also heard there's someone else that may be leaving the administration. And, you know, so far, the last I read, it was like 37 people left. Some left out of pressure. Some left because they were fired, and then some left. They did the same thing the others did. They resigned. So there's something seriously going wrong in this administration, and whatever it is, it's showing. And so there's been a lot of protests, like I was saying in previous videos. There's been a lot of anger, and I can't say that it's going to get any better because of the way things have been going. And once you start something, it's hard to undo it. And so a lot has been done just in the short time that this administration has been in action. There's been a lot of separating people, people being removed, and all the different things that they've been doing. And it just seems like now it's like already so much has been done. And to some would say so much damage has been done. It's like it's hard to undo the damage that's been done. And it's really sad. But, this is so unfortunate situation or reality that people are living in. And, I think every person that doesn't really have a lot of power or they're poor have been hit with so much with this administration, and it is showing. It's really sad. Black people, Latin people, poor people, people who want more money. I don't know if people are watching too, because there's also a protest even with people who are workers, who make low, like regular wage, minimum wage. They're protesting even at Disneyland. There's so much going on, it's really sad. And you see people fighting to have a place to stay. Rents have gone up. It's hard to find places to live. And it's just hurting everyone. And so, unfortunately, it just seems like, I don't know where this is going, but it doesn't look good at all. And so I feel like there's something else that is going to happen. There's more than something else. There's a lot of things that are going to happen or are going to occur. I feel like when you do things like this, people become more desperate, and they do things that they normally wouldn't do when they're put in a position like this. And so I just would say people be safe as much as possible. And, it's just really sad. It's like, I feel like from the beginning that it wasn't good, from the start. And I really don't know what else to say except that it's really, I feel like the whole thing is really wrong. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I try to stay away from some of the things that people do, because, when they use this Bible stuff, because a lot of times everybody has their own agendas and they don't tell you what they're really trying to do. They use that, for example, using the Bible, I recall this woman who, she always would do like horrible things to her kids, her daughter rather. And I know some people, they said they felt that it was something strange about the way she was treating her daughter. And eventually they figured out, she would turn like certain times of the weeks out of the month, she would turn up like Christian music. She would turn it up really loud, and she would act like she was really religious or really like a Christian or whatever. And she would, she would yell and scream and act like she was, praying and everything. But then we noticed that what the backstory was from people who finally, came out and said who this person was and why they were doing it, is because this person would do this when a social worker would come, or just before a social worker would come, to make the social workers think that she was really, really super religious. And Then once the social workers were gone, then she would go back into how she really is. And she would use the Bible is what my point is she would use the Bible to make herself seem like she was this innocent person and she wasn't bad and she was, she was a loving parent when in fact it was the total opposite. And I'm just using that as a small example, but that really did happen. Turns out she was abusing her daughter. She was physically abusing the daughter and possibly putting the daughter out for guys to have sex with. So she would do that to get money. And what ended up happening is at one time she lost the daughter, and then somehow she got a job, got herself back a little bit on track. They gave her daughter back, but she was on the verge of losing the daughter again because she was going back into the same old, you know, habits that she was doing before that ended up her losing her daughter the first time. And so she would use the Bible as a tool to convince people that she was this person that was, honest, and that she wasn't, abusive to her kid, and, she was this loving person. And I feel like a lot of times people will use the Bible to mask who they really are on the inside, and they hide behind, it's like what you would say, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, that saying, where it's really a wolf but they try to act like they're this innocent timid sheep, and they're not going to bite you, they're going to hurt you, they're not harmful, they're harmless, when in fact they're the ones you need to be really concerned about, you need to beware of, because they can do the most damage. And that's my point. And it seems like this whole thing has done so much damage to so many families and so many people and so many ways in the Black community, with the police shootings, letting people walk, justifying why it's okay to kill people and murder people. The same concept, using the Bible to say things are law when you're doing something really bad. There's got to be another way to enforce law without doing that, using the Bible. Just, if you're going to do something, just don't even put that in there, because it just really validates what I've been saying all along. I feel like the Bible's used as a weapon for a lot of bad things, for a lot of evil stuff. And so I'm going to leave it at that. That's the reason why I don't mess around with all of this. And you never know who you're following, because a lot of people have a lot of hidden junk, and you don't know about it until you're caught up in it. And unfortunately, some people are caught up in it even if they're trying not to be. And so this is one of those things. And so I really don't know that this is good at all. I just know there's a lot of anger. It's welling up even more. And it doesn't make people trusting. It's building more, you say, a lack of trust in big government, because it seems to trickle down on the people who have nothing or don't have anything or have very little. And so we seem to be hit more harder with the laws and with the different, criterions that, are set forth. It hurts a lot of people. I just don't see this really being fixable. It just creates more anger. It creates more depression, fear, and resentment, and distrust. So anyway, with that being said, Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to leave this, and I really hope that at some point things will change. That's what I would hope, but it doesn't look like it. Um, that's the sad part. Thanks for listening.